Hello. I missed a connection today. I had to get on at platform 7B, which I thought was a little side platform next to platform 7A. I asked the first person I saw on the train whether it was going to Westbury. In fact, I said, "Excuse me," about 5 times to try and get her attention because she was very hard of hearing. When she finally acknowledged my presence, I repeated my question. Is this train going to Westbury? No, it was not the train for Westbury. It was the train for Newbury. I then saw the train that I needed to get, and I sprinted towards it, but I was too late. So I asked the trainman, who had somewhat gleefully commented that I was late, if he could help me get to where I needed to be. I soon got on the train to Bristol, and a woman asked me if it stopped at Chippenham. I said it was 2 or 3 stops away, and I felt annoyed that I didn't know the exact number of stops, and I felt bad that she would be anxious, that I was the only one who was anxious. As I zipped up my bag in anticipation of alighting for Swindon, the woman started a conversation as if we'd been friends for years. I struggled to hear her, but I did hear her say that Bristol was lovely, and she described Chippenham as dystopian. The last thing I said before I stepped off the train was a swear word in reference to my hometown, which I was disappointed about, not because the word was inaccurate, but because it was in contrast to the woman's eloquence, and it was a level of honesty that probably wasn't suitable with a stranger. As I wrestled with these thoughts, the sort of low-level, pointless, anxiety-ridden thoughts that hound me after most encounters with other people, I found the train I needed to finally reach my destination. It was still morning and really bright outside, and not too warm in the carriage. I settled in for a quiet half an hour or so with my book of poetry. Then a man wearing sunglasses and a cowboy hat, and who looked very much like the poet John Cooper Clarke, settled into a seat at the table on the other side of the carriage. He grandly placed his guitar on a seat and draped his denim bag on the table, then immediately began muttering to me about music and work and, I think, his wife. I felt trapped. I could barely hear him, and I didn't want to spend half an hour trying to hear him. I thought the interruption of the ticket inspector would allow me to return to my book and silence, but the man sustained his flow regardless. I then pretended to be very bothered about the order in which my train tickets were stacked, and after a few minutes of this failing facade, I retrieved my laptop from my bag and lied that I had work to do. At this point, the man recognised that I might be a human being with my own interests and desires, and he assumed that I worked in computers. Concealing my irritation, I said I was a musician, which was a mistake, as it inevitably set him off on another monologue. I was desperate. I pretended that I had to crack some code. And I stared at the blank screen, and I wished that the man would go for a nap or something. But no, he did not. He started going on about James Bond. And I said, look, I really need to finish typing this story about a weird train trip I've had today, as it's great material for a YouTube video. Thank you for listening, and take care.